Ms. Miller. Ms. Van Duyne, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of our witnesses for joining us here today. Throughout this year and last, this committee has met and deliberated for hours on end to deliver promises to the American people. And today's hearing gives us an opportunity to highlight those results that have actually worked and the momentum that we cannot afford to lose. Before the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, our tax code was actually pushing jobs, pushing research, and entire headquarters overseas. Corporate inversions were rampant, our tax base was eroding, and American workers were paying the price. The TCJA reversed that trend. It modernized our international tax system, it reduced incentives for base erosion, and most importantly, it made America a more attractive place to invest and innovate. This year, Congress has built on that success by passing the Working Families Tax Cuts Act. The tax package would strengthen and made permanent the international reforms that have been so central to American competitiveness. By establishing stable rates, we gave U.S. companies the long-term certainty that they needed to be able to invest here, to be able to hire here, and to be able to keep their innovative work in the United States. At the same time, we worked closely with the Trump administration to ensure that the United States maintains its tax sovereignty in the face of the OECD's Pillar 2 and digital services taxes. And I appreciate Treasury's progress toward a side-by-side arrangement that protects American workers and prevents foreign governments from imposing their taxes on U.S. businesses. This has been a core priority for this committee, and we must stay vigilant. Chairman Brady, it's great to see you
Good
back.
to see you.
I look at this picture every time that I'm in here, and while I love this picture, I really do think that the one that was presented to you by the Texas delegation, I hope you have that proudly displayed and would prefer to have that sometimes in here.
Could we strike that from the record, Mr. Chairman?
Prior to 2017, we saw constant inversions, capital lockout, and an international tax system that simply wasn't competitive. Chairman Brady, you were instrumental in crafting the TCJA. Can you speak on how TCJA's international provisions actually helped to reverse those trends and bring investments back to the U.S.?
Yeah, so those inversions, those companies picking up and leaving or moving their headquarters or dragging along their manufacturing research out of our communities was the result of a outdated and uncompetitive international tax code. One from the Kennedy administration. In fact, our international tax provisions, if they were a person, were old enough to qualify for Medicare. And as a result, we were seeing that those activities in a very negative way. What we knew is if we could make the corporate rate competitive again at 21%, if we could move from a worldwide taxation system to more of a territorial system, if we could put in place, which we did, safeguards against companies either exporting their profits to low-tax countries or importing their deductions to artificially lower their taxes here, if we did all that and combined it with incentives for an investment in the U.S., innovation in the U.S., and make us competitive, we knew we could reverse the damaging effect of inversions, and that's exactly what we did. But I think the work that you've done here in the One Big Beautiful Bill builds on that and makes it even harder for companies to justify those inversion-type activities. I predict we won't see tax-driven inversions as a result, again, of TCJA and the work that this committee has done. That continues to be a positive development. But beyond that, the incentives and the fine-tuning, the improvements you made, again, takes this up a notch as far as our goal to make the U.S. the premier destination in the world for new investment, for IP, for jobs, for growth. All of this, you've built upon that. And as we're hearing from the industries of the future like AI, you know, they've made it very clear the work that you've done in building on this is going to, frankly, put the U.S. in the forefront of winning the innovation race. And as you know and as you've said, the country that wins the innovation race really wins the future. You just took, I think, a very important step to positioning America to do just that.
I appreciate that very much. You know, you may have heard of the National Association of Manufacturers report that failing to pass this year's tax package would have resulted in 6 million job losses, $540 billion in lost wages, and $1 trillion in lost GDP, or millions in lost jobs and significant reductions in wages and GDP. Why would these economic damages have been so significant, and what does that tell us about the importance of a certainty in our tax code?
Permanence matters. When you get the tax code right and policy right, permanence is the most pro-growth thing you can do. And you can see it because it's the opposite. On provisions that are good in policy but are temporary, you don't get bang for the buck because businesses can't see the certainty to make the long-term investments that really grow the economy in the U.S. locally. So I think the permanence that you insisted upon on this bill is going to continue to enhance the pro-growth provisions you've got in here.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I yield.